Guess it's time for my first live broadcast here on YouTube. Let's see if it's everything's going according to plan here. Well, anyway, guess I'll just take a minute and we'll get going. Looks like we got 3 viewers here. How's it going? Oh, 2 viewers. That was interesting. All right, so I guess I'm just going to start talking. Okay, what I'm doing is, okay, looks like we've got the live feed going on the channel page, which is good. Oh, hey, 4 viewers. That's awesome. All right, so I guess I may as well just jump right into this. Hi, I'm StupidPrivate. Nice to see you guys. Thanks for coming out to my first live event. So it looks like I got a few questions on my announcement trailer, which I guess I'm just going to break into. Hang on for 1 second. Okay, I'm back. All right, so as I was saying, I've got some questions that I guess I'm going to break into. First question I got was, what's your favorite Fallout game? Well, I guess that would be Fallout 3. That was really my favorite Fallout game. It was the first one I played. I kind of feel bad because I wasn't into Fallout before it was cool, you know? I didn't play the original Fallout. I didn't play Fallout 2. I only really found out about it when Part 3 came out. And let me tell you, Part 3 was absolutely an awesome game. I love the setup. I think it's a lot tighter than New Vegas was, where you just, you kind of start out, you make your character, you spend, like, in the beginning of the game, you spend, like, the first 19 years of your life in Vault 101, and you kind of learn what the universe is all about, and it's a really great setup. I love Liam Neeson, and the way he kind of guides you through your childhood. I thought that was a really cool way to introduce players to the game. I think once you get out into the world, I think it's a lot more interesting than New Vegas, which just struck me as being not quite as strong. I think the Enclave being really mysterious throughout the first spoiler, by the way. I think the Enclave being really mysterious throughout like the first half of the game, and then only kind of showing up like later. Really, it was very interesting because you didn't know what they were all about in the beginning. You only knew about the radio broadcasts that John Henry Eden was making, and kind of just the people you were talking to. Like there was that one guy, and I think it was Megaton, that he was like an Enclave fanboy, basically. But then, you hook up with the Brotherhood of Steel, and I think that was definitely a way better portrayal of the Brotherhood than in New Vegas, by the way, because the Brotherhood in Fallout 3 they're awesome. Just like going out there, protecting the people, finding the lost relics of the United States and technology, and trying to put everything back together, and building that giant Optimus Prime robot. That was cool. They came off as really kind of wimpy in New Vegas, mainly because there weren't a lot of them, and they were just in this one area, and they were like a sub-quest or side quest. I also think things were a little more. It was easier to get better at what you wanted to do in Fallout 3 because in New Vegas, I think they tried to make the game harder, but it ended up being just more irritating. Like you only got a perk every 2 levels, and you didn't get as many skill points. And I don't think the skills are quite as useful. Sorry, burped a little bit. So I also really liked some of the expansion packs for Fallout 3. Not that there weren't problems. I didn't really like Mothership Zeta because the whole alien invasion thing, it kind of was lame in a lot of ways, where you just went aboard this alien ship. There wasn't a lot to explore. You got some interesting loot. Like I think my favorite thing that they had were these. It was like toothpaste stuff you could use to fix your weapons. It's like it was basically like the repair kits from Fallout New Vegas, except you found a lot of it. And it was good stuff to have. I didn't think the weapons in Mothership Zeta were that cool. I didn't think the aliens were very interesting, partly because, they never talked to you. You got the sense that they were abducting people and doing all the stuff that 50s B-movie aliens would do. But, it didn't really feel, I guess, cinematic enough or cool enough. The expansion pack for Fallout 3, I think it was Broken Steel, which was basically had another battle with the Enclave. It felt kind of tacked on, honestly, but it was still cool to see the giant robot Liberty Prime again. And let's see. It introduced this one kind of enemy which I absolutely hated, called the Super Mutant Overlord. It was basically, they were about as tough as a Super Mutant Behemoth, but they were compacted down to the regular size Super Mutant, which are really big anyway. But they could just take so much abuse. And I remember when I played through Fallout 3, I had a character who was basically proficient with stealth and energy weapons, and I would just have her sneak up to these guys and just pop them in the head a couple times because I had extra damage when I got headshots, and these guys would just not go down. And the minute I shot at any of them, it was like they all knew where I was, and I would just have like 5 or 6 super mutants all charging me at once. And what I typically did was I would hide like bottle cap mines. Oh yeah, it pissed me off how in Fallout New Vegas bottle cap mines are like impossible to make, and they're one of my favorite weapons. They also don't work on death claws anymore in New Vegas, which was lame. But satchel charges replaced them, which is cool, I guess, if you have the add-ons for Fallout New Vegas. The DLC is better implemented in New Vegas, I think. But that's kind of another story. And yeah, the DLC is definitely better in New Vegas, but it feels like that was planned out from the beginning, and there are like little hints out there, and it feels like they kind of cheaped you out on content for the game, which I didn't really care for. So the conflict in New Vegas between Caesar's Legion and the New California Republic, I didn't really like it. I feel like they tried to compact maybe just too much into one game. It's like they wanted to do this 300 style battle at Hoover Dam. They wanted to do kind of this whole Indian Wars thing going on with the various tribes of the Mojave. They wanted this big kind of conspiracy in New Vegas. I really liked Mr. House. I thought he was a cool character. I thought it was an interesting setup, this kind of Howard Hughes guy. But I don't think it was well executed on. I don't think all the little branching paths you could have taken, where it's like, okay, I'm siding with the New California Republic, I'm siding with Mr. House, I'm siding with Caesar's Legion. Why would you side with Caesar's Legion is, I guess, my question. They're so transparently just bad guys. It feels like, I don't know, why would you ever want to work with these people? But I guess for some people, we do it just because we can. There's really no reason in Fallout 3 why you want to be friends with the slavers. I guess because they give you stuff, but you can do it. but I feel like the I want to take over New Vegas and basically be the local New Vegas overlord. I thought I tried that, but the game felt like it just kind of came apart, and I was running around and everyone was shooting at me. I feel like it kind of made things really unstable, and I didn't like the feel of it. So that kind of bugged me as an option. I don't think the resolution with Benny was good. I didn't like that. I felt like I was either railroaded into I just had to shoot him, or I ended up being his lackey, I think was another option. Let's see. One of my favorite expansion packs for New Vegas was Honest Hearts, where you go to Zion and you meet Joshua Graham, who is just like, I guess I'll answer the next Fallout related question, which is who's your favorite character in Fallout? If you really twist my arm, because there have been a lot of really cool characters over the games that I've played, Joshua Graham would probably be my favorite. He used to work for Caesar. He used to be like his legate, his general, and he failed Caesar. He got set on fire, tossed into the Grand Canyon, but he survived. So he's like this friggin' awesome dude, and he's a really interesting character to kind of get to know, to kind of see his journey back from, being basically shaming his family by joining up with Caesar and kind of going back and trying to do some good in the world, and seeing how the courier, who's the main character from Fallout New Vegas, sort of affects the path that he takes in life. I thought that was really cool. And he's my favorite character because, he's very compelling, mysterious, and he's clearly gone through some SH. So I like him. He's an honest guy. He's an awesome guy, I meant to say. Another character that I really liked, who's also from New Vegas, was, I think her name was Vanessa. She's the gal you meet at, I think it's the 88 overpass. She's the one who's in the Brotherhood of Steel. I really like her backstory. I think it's really interesting. I think it's kind of unintuitive. I think she's got a great personality. Her dialogue is really funny. Another character I really like from Fallout 3 is Moira Brown. I put her on my top 16 video game girls list. Awesome, hilarious in every way. She probably has one of my favorite video game quests of all times, which is the Wasteland Survival Guide quest. It's really interesting to just see all the different little options that you can do in that quest, and like how you can complete each portion of the quest, because it's like you have to write 3 chapters of the book, and you get like 3 quests each, and you can either do a really good job, you can do a really bad job, and you can do it like a whole bunch of different ways. And you actually have an option of just basically using your persuasion skill to just tell her that she sucks and she shouldn't write the Wasteland Survival Guide, and you actually get a perk for that. And you get a perk for completing it, and you get a different perk based on how well you completed the Wasteland Survival Guide. It's really awesome. One of my favorite gaming related quests of all time. If every quest in every game could be that good, I feel, well, that's impossible, because that's just an awesome quest. I love it to death. Let's see. I really thought trying to remember the name. It's the one DLC in Fallout 3 where you go to like Louisiana, or Point Lookout. That's it. You go to Point Lookout. And I thought that was a really interesting area, because it was this big kind of open area that you could just kind of wander around, find all kinds of little interesting things buried in the swamp out there. And it was very cool. I thought they had the main-ish quest was basically this struggle between these 2 guys who have been around since before the war. I thought it was very thought-provoking, very well executed. I really like that DLC. So, really cool stuff. Trying to remember. Oh yeah, and the Pit was the last DLC for Fallout 3. I thought that was kind of interesting. It was very Escape from LA. I mean, Escape from New York, rather. It was very Escape from New York. Pittsburgh was an interesting place to kind of wander around, to see kind of how the Raiders had taken over and the stuff that they're doing there. So that was cool. I liked that. Oh, and I sort of forgot about Operation Anchorage. Basically, what that is the Brotherhood Outcasts, who are this little sort of offshoot of the Brotherhood of Steel, have you go and basically kind of break into this locked facility that was used for training troops before the Great War. And you get one of my favorite items, like you get one of my favorite armor types in Fallout 3, which is the Chinese stealth armor. It's fantastic for, kind of a sneaky character, which is what I had. It literally lets you turn invisible if you're crouching. Just great piece of equipment. The quest itself is kind of neat, where you get to kind of go through all these sort of this simulation of what the war in Alaska was like. I forget whether they actually fought the war in Alaska. I think they did. I don't remember exactly what happened in the Fallout kind of mythos, but I'm pretty sure that they did fight that war with the Chinese before, obviously full-on nuclear Armageddon got started. All right, so let's start talking about ponies here. So next question is, how did you get into watching My Little Pony? Well, what happened was I actually saw the first episode of Friendship is Magic, and that was right before I started my basic training when I went into the Army. So I saw like the first episode, and I had to go do my do my basic training at Fort Jackson, and I remember it was during the winter, and it was like I finally I got the chance to go home, and I was like, okay, I think I'll watch some more of that, and I did. Figured out it was an awesome show, and it was something I was able to do over Christmas vacation, holiday block leave they call it, which was cool. So I remember the reason why I actually stopped and said, okay, I want to watch this thing was I watched the nostalgia chick on That Guy with the Glasses do her little spiel about My Little Pony. That was a while ago. I'm pretty sure that video of hers is still up. It's kind of interesting. She was talking about G1, and it was so I knew it existed. I just had never seen anything pony related, and it was like, yeah, I think I'll check this out. I don't know anything about it. So I did. It seemed interesting, and then I had noticed that uh, the hub actually was airing something My Little Pony related, and I'm like, I wonder if it's as bad as she said it was, because I don't think her review was entirely positive. So I checked it out. I saw that, it was obviously Friendship is Magic, the fourth generation of My Little Ponies, which is, made of Win, and it was fantastic. So that was it was the pilot episode with Nightmare Moon showing up, and I was like, oh, this is cool. I got to know what happens. I never thought they would actually do this on a show for such small kids, where you're gonna have an evil space monster show up and literally plunge the land into eternal darkness. It struck me as a very cool angle to take for the material. And let's see. So I did my AIT, that's Advanced Individual Training, in Fort Huachuca, Arizona, and it was nice because I was there for a while, and we had like they weren't private rooms, but you were in a room with one other guy, and I was like, and we had internet, we had computers. It was kind of like a college living environment, and I was able to I had kind of been, occupied I'd been occupied with other stuff. So at some point, I saw that CR, who is also, as far as I know, still on That Guy with the Glasses, he had made like a review of My Little Pony, and I watched it, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that show. It was really cool, and I decided, okay, I'm going to look this thing up on YouTube, and then I just kind of power marathoned all of season 1. This was right around the time that season 2 started. and I was able to see the first episode with Discord in it, The Return of Harmony, and it was just like awesome episode, and I just have kept watching regularly from then. All right, question number 4: Who's your favorite pony? I feel like I'm going to be cheating a little bit when I say I have 2 favorite ponies. Uh, One of them I think you'll be able to guess fairly easily. It's Derpy. I mean, Derpy is Derpy's a great character. I love her. She's cute and she seems to be okay with being kind of dumb. So, and I think her little appearances are always funny, always heartwarming. Uh, the first time I saw her was when she dropped that piano on Twilight's head. In I'm blanking on the name of the episode, but you know what scene I'm talking about when it's a flower pot and then I think there's a piano in there. So great sequence. Oh, that was the one with Pinky Sense in it. I'm gonna get the name and just Feeling Pinky Keen. I hear that one isn't too popular, but whatever. It's got one of my favorite appearances by Derpy, so I don't care. My second favorite pony is Luna. Of course. Luna is really, really cool. I mean, she's got the whole Nightmare Moon thing going on. She's kind of the dark, sinister, well, not really sinister, but dark, mysterious one compared to Celestia, who's, kind of like the bright, benevolent one. So Luna's very mysterious. I think her backstory and kind of the tragedy there makes her a lot more interesting and compelling than Celestia, who's a little too perfectly perfect. I think her flaws actually make her better. My number 2, again, I have 2. I feel like I'm cheating a lot with that, but my second favorite would be Twilight and Princess Celestia. Both of them, I feel like Celestia doesn't have any faults, pretty much. Well, she kind of does, but, it's sort of iffy on that. And it sort of makes her boring. And Twilight, I feel like her faults sort of, decrease her as a character a little bit. Like seeing Twilight completely go insane, as entertaining as that was, and don't get me wrong, that is extremely funny during, okay, blanking on the name again, the one episode where Twilight completely freaks out because she didn't learn anything, Lesson 0. So Lesson 0, I guess I'm just going to jump straight to I know I got a question about what my favorite episode is. Let's see. Yeah, what's your favorite episode from My Little Pony? I don't know if I could pick one. I feel like I keep cheaping out on you guys, but I don't feel like I could pick just one. So Lesson 0 would definitely be up there. Anything Discord related is really great too. But love Lesson 0. Great episode. Anything Discord related? Let's see. What else is quality stuff? I really liked Luna Eclipsed. And I know that it's got some kind of some setup problems, and it raises a lot of questions about continuity, like, okay, where's Luna been all year? Why does she look different? Why didn't anyone ever bother to teach her to talk correctly? But its problems don't really bother me. It's like Pacific Rim. It's got the Pacific Rim thing going on. It's like, Luna's there and she's being awesome. I completely excuse any issues that this episode had. Sorry, burped again. Drinking a soda here. It completely excuses any issues that the episode has. Let's see. Well, since I got no one asked, but may as well talk about some of my least favorite episodes. I did not care for Wonderbolt Academy. I know I got some flack for this, and I'm definitely in the minority, but it's a better episode than I initially pegged it as being, because Rainbow Dash has a lot of good development, and we kind of get to see how much she's done, how much she's learned, but it's like kind of everything else in there sort of bugs me, especially the Wonderbolts themselves. I'm sort of surprised that the creators of the show went with the directions of the Wonderbolts being jerks, or kind of like they're basically like Cobra Kai from Karate Kid, where they're the kids with the flashy tailored uniforms and the cool moves, and they think they're just so much better than everybody else. I'm surprised they went with that direction, and Wonderbolt Academy is sort of the episode which kind of cemented my dislike for Spitfire, where it's like she got her life saved by Rainbow Dash, and she's still basically treating Rainbow Dash like dirt. I understand why she's doing it, because she can't specifically treat Rainbow Dash differently. But there could have been a scene where, like, sorry, Dash, I know you, I like you, but I have to treat you the same as everyone else. I felt like that scene would have gone a lot more toward making Spitfire, if not more likable, at least more understandable. But something about her just bugs me. There's kind of a self-satisfiedness to her that I find kind of a turnoff. I also didn't like that Soren wasn't in it. I felt like he might have been somewhere in the background, but I feel like he could maybe have done something. Let's see. Another episode I didn't like. I'm trying to remember the name. Oh yeah, this is one I didn't review, but I feel like a lot of people are going to agree with this one, where I did not like Showstoppers. That was kind of one of the first big Cutie Mark Crusaders episodes, where it had the CMCs and they were trying to put on a show, and they're terrible at it. And it kind of shows their stubborn refusal to kind of learn what their natural abilities are. And it was just kind of an obnoxious episode. I think that the showrunners have definitely done a good job of making the CMCs more likable as we've kind of gone on, because they get a lot better. You know, Sweetie Belle started off being kind of irritating because she was basically as dumb as a sack of hammers. And she's gotten smarter, a little more aware of things, and I like that. I like how they're still, kids, basically, where, they're impulsive and they're selfish, and they don't mean to be. They're just not really aware of things. Hang on for 1 second. Where they're not really aware of things. And, I like that angle for them. So they've definitely gotten better. Let's see. What else do we got? Okay, have you seen the show RWBY? I have now. So it's I guess it's by Rooster Teeth. It seems interesting, and I want to check it out. I haven't had a chance to actually watch any episodes, but it seems cool. I like the animation. It's a cool looking show, so I'm probably going to check that out at some point. So thanks for letting me know about that. Okay, next question. What inspired you to become a reviewer? Well, I guess what inspired me to become a reviewer was I had been watching, I guess the first guy who reviewed things that I actually watched on a regular basis was Yahtzee on The Escapist magazine. He's just screamingly funny guy, great guy. Hilarious take on all the video games that he plays. And since then, I've watched a lot of other people. I watch the Nostalgia Critic, the Angry Video Game Nerd. It sort of disappoints me that the whole AVGN thing has he hasn't really been producing as much as he usually does. But I guess when you're as accomplished as he is, I guess it's okay to take a break and work on side projects, which I think it's what he really wants to do. Let's see. I watched Angry Joe a lot, who another really funny guy, really dedicated to kind of providing commentary and critiques of video games and that sort of thing. So I'd been watching all these guys for a long time, and I said, you know what? I have something to say about stuff, so I'm just gonna start making videos. I would say stylistically, I don't want to say I'm copying another guy called Movie Bob, But I think if you watch his stuff and you watch my stuff, you'll notice that there are some similarities in terms of the way I match the images with what I'm saying on screen. But yeah, I guess I really became a reviewer and want to spend a portion of my time talking about things like video games, movies, TV shows, etc. I guess just because I had something I wanted to say, I felt like I could contribute to the conversation. So I've definitely had a lot of inspiration, and there are a lot of people out there who do a way better job than I can, obviously. But that's kind of why I decided to do this. Okay, where does my username come from? Interesting question. Well, I didn't come up with it. My drill sergeant did, and it's actually kind of dumb, kind of cleaning it up a little bit. But it was a much less nice word for stupid. And one of the reasons I kind of am so fond of Derpy is she's a little bit like Goofy from Disney, where she takes being stupid and makes it okay. It's like, it's not really a bad trait for them. So that's kind of my fondness for that. Kind of ties into my fondness for Derpy. Okay, will you review video games in the future? Yes, I will. I'm actually working on a review of the game Okami right now, and I've actually been working on it for a while. And by working on, I mean I got it all recorded. It's pretty much all ready to go, but it's just sitting on my recording software, just gathering whatever cyber dust is. And I'm gonna actually finally sit down and do it like next week, so expect that soon. I'm also planning on reviewing the game Castlevania Order of Ecclesia, which I'm kind of presently playing through. I just got past a really tough boss who was basically taking me to the woodshed. But I got him. I got him. It took me 9 health potions, but I got him. And for the record, 9 health potions is the maximum that you can carry with you. I got him though. He's a guy in Dracula's castle. Basically, he fights you with a giant version of his shadow. Cool looking boss. He beat the crap out of me, so I have no love for this guy. Oh, also fairly early on in the game, you fight a giant enemy crab, so that was fun. But I'm planning on reviewing Okami, Order of Ecclesia. So not new stuff, definitely. And this is mostly just related to how I play games. When I play a video game, I like to play it to death, where I like to see all the little hidden away stuff, and I feel like if I didn't find everything, I haven't really, gotten the most out of the game. It's like, I think Ocarina of Time is kind of the first game that I literally just said, okay, I'm going to sit down with a strategy guide, I'm going to find every single thing and just play it to the max. And I really like open world sort of exploration type games where you get to look around, you get to see what's out there, you get to see kind of what's going on, you get to find stuff that maybe helps you fight better, stuff that's just fun to have, like Easter eggs, extra costumes. I like that stuff in games, and I like finding that stuff. But generally, you can't do it too quick. So, and I don't want to I don't want to sit down and just power through a game. I want to take my time. I want to just kind of explore at my leisure. So I'm not really going to be doing reviews so much as kind of look backs at previous games that I thought were really good and I feel like have something that's worth talking about with them. So these reviews are going to be a little bit longer, a little bit more in depth. So I think they're not going to be quite the same as my usual reviews where I just go kind of ABC, this is what I like about it, this is what I think you'll like about it too. So will I review episodes from Season 1 and Season 2 of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic? I'm probably not going to do what I did with the previous seasons, where it's with the seasons that I have reviewed, where I review every single thing, good, bad, and indifferent. I'm probably going to go back and find episodes that I think are noteworthy, really good, or really bad, and I'm probably going to review some of them. So that's kind of my plan with that. Will I review Transformers Prime episodes from Season 1 and Season 2? I might. I'm thinking about it. Those are actually I think they're a little bit harder to find. Uh, I haven't like really sat down and looked like real thoroughly through YouTube, but they don't come up quite as immediately as the pony stuff does. Sure you can still track. I'm sure I can still track them down though, and there might be some that I want to see. Like, I want to take a more in-depth look at Mech, which was what I think they were one of the more interesting things in Transformers Prime, because there have been human type enemies before, but not really to this. They remind me of Cerberus a lot from Mass Effect, and I'd kind of like to take a look at them because I think they're really cool. I might want to do like a compare and contrast with like the Prime Decepticons and the Prime Autobots versus their G1 counterparts, because there have been a lot of interesting changes, and I think mostly they've been for the better. Like Soundwave is a good example. I really like the Prime version of Soundwave. I think that one little dialogue that he has right at the end was really cool. I like the fact that he transforms into a drone versus size changing into a tiny little tape deck, which doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's just one of those little head scratchy things about G1 and Megatron turning into a gun, just like a regular sized handgun. Well, okay, the Transformers used it, so I guess it would be a lot bigger. But yeah, I think they made a lot of good changes in Transformers Prime. And I'd probably like to do kind of maybe a versus related to that, where it's like G1 Transformers versus Prime Transformers or something related to that. Okay, how did I get into Transformers Prime? Well, I watched the original first generation Transformers. I think it was running, I don't know if it was like when it was on an early morning run when I was a kid. I would watch it either before school or early Saturday, and that was like the most awesome thing in the world when I was a kid, where you got robots that turn into cars and they're fighting an epic battle, and it was one of my favorite shows as a kid. I love the hell out of it. And I haven't always been on board with all the stuff the Transformers have done. I've kind of come and gone a little bit. Like after they ditched Optimus Prime for Rodimus Prime, Hot Rod. I hate that guy, Hot Rod. Man, why can't Unicron just eat that guy? No, I don't. Yeah, I don't like him. I kind of stopped really paying attention to Transformers after that. Although it wasn't being broadcast regularly at that point, but at that point it pissed me off. So then they did a number of like the sort of, I think there was an anime Transformers at one point, which I didn't really watch. I think it was like either Transformers Armada or Transformers Animated or something like that. I didn't really watch it. I maybe watched a couple of episodes, but then, just whatever. Then there was Transformers, I think it's Transformers Energon, which I think it was something about the art style, and there was that one really irritating little kid character. I apologize if I'm not actually talking about Transformers Energon, but it's the one where it was like set in future Detroit, and it was basically the same cast as in Transformers Prime, where it was Optimus, Bumblebee, Ratchet. I think it was Bulkhead. It was like the first appearance of Bulkhead, or a fairly early Bulkhead, and Prowl. And then there was the really irritating kid with the magic key, who I had no idea what she was there to do. And at some point she can actually turn into a Transformer, which struck me as weird. I didn't really like that one. I thought it was kind of an interesting take on Cybertron, where Cybertron hadn't been destroyed and the Decepticons were like terrorists or whatever. So I feel like that's one of the ones that I should go back and watch, but I don't know if I might go back and watch it. I don't know. But I didn't like it at the time. I know I probably didn't give it an entirely fair shake. But hey, what are you going to do? So let's see. What other Transformers have there been? The movies. The movies are, let's face it, they're not great. They're not terrible. I don't think they're as terrible as everyone says they are, because there are some good things in there. Like, okay, Shia LaBeouf is terrible. Shia LaBeouf's girlfriend is terrible. He's had more than one by this point. Most of the human characters are kind of useless and irritating. And the Transformers, they could look better, like, but I feel like they get Optimus Prime. He is exactly the way Optimus Prime should be. And if you remember the way Bumblebee sounded on Transformers Energon, you would want Megatron to rip out his voice box too, because that guy, irritating, just irritating everything he said, and just the way he said it was annoying. So I'm not going to complain too much about Silent Bumblebee, although I feel like, if you want to make him from just kind of the Transformer who hung around with the humans and was like all buddy buddy into this strong silent warrior type, I feel like you could do that. I feel like, if you want to do that, it would be okay for him to talk a little bit more. You don't need to necessarily make him into R2-D2, which is kind of uncool. But I think there are things to like about the Bayformers. I like the way they're giant Swiss Army knives where they've got, weapons busting out of here, there, and everywhere. Definitely going to be reviewing Transformers Extinction, because it's got Grimlock, and Optimus Prime is riding Grimlock, and Galvatron is going to be in there. So I got to see it. So expect that review. All right, next question. All right, so when did I really start watching Transformers Prime? I started watching Transformers Prime kind of near the middle of the second season, because I'd sort of missed the first season for, I don't know whether I was doing something at the time or whether I just sort of didn't happen to catch it. But it really kind of won me over, because originally the CGI look sort of was throwing me off a little bit. I don't know if I was really into it, but I eventually sat down, watched a couple episodes. I saw the whole thing with Mech, which I thought was interesting. I liked what they were doing with the Decepticons versus the Autobots. Making the Decepticons a lot more powerful. But I really got into it about halfway through the second season, which is sadly sort of kind of near the tail end of everything. I'd missed a lot of stuff. But, I really liked it. All right, so I'm kind of running low on questions. If any of you have anything you'd like me to answer right now, you can just post a comment in my announcement trailer, which I'm able to see right now. And if not, I guess I'm just gonna keep rambling about various stuff. So I guess I'll talk about my future plans. So basically, I don't know if any of you remember my Character Central video for Samus, which I did, I think it was a few months ago now. Well, that's actually going to be part of an ongoing segment which is airing on a website called Gamers Heroes. Probably later tonight, I'm going to come out with an announcement trailer for that. So I've been making videos where I kind of look at the most popular and the most obscure characters of video gaming. And I made one, like I've done videos about Cloud and Elizabeth from BioShock Infinite, and there's a whole bunch of them, and that's going to be on Gamers Heroes. When they go live, the one about Cloud is actually up right now. That's going to be my first one. I'll be posting an announcement right here, but you can go and you can see that. Also, I don't know how many of you are actual tabletop gamers, but I'm planning at some point. This is kind of iffy right now, and I don't really like to talk too much about it because I don't have anything concrete for it. But if you remember my Kitsune Arcane Trickster build for the game Pathfinder, I'm going to be coming out with more videos, kind of featuring some unusual or I think really nifty character builds for Pathfinder. I'm also going to come out with some videos related to Warhammer 40k, which is a really fun game. It can be a little bit expensive to get into, but I think it's cool. Because you need to buy models, and then you need to actually get the books. You need to get the manuals to play for them. But it's a really fun game if you actually get into it. So that channel is going to be called D6 Damage. It's actually up and out there, but there's nothing on it. But when it does actually happen, I'll post announcements, and there will be some. I'll inform you. So, like I said, I'm planning on doing more video game related stuff. Like there's my Character Central stuff, obviously, and my review slash more in-depth sort of looks at the games. I'm thinking about this. I'm kind of going through the logistics of it and just seeing if it's worth doing. I might do it once. Might try something on Twitch where you can actually watch me fail at playing a video game. I'm not that good. That's one of the reasons why I like RPGs, where I can actually just win by building my character up to the extent where it's like, haha, yeah, okay, I have way more health than you do, and I know the Armageddon spell, and I can just completely wipe you off the screen, no matter how powerful you are. Because I'm not that good. One game that I've been playing and I've been enjoying is League of Legends. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of samey because I usually just play against bots and Summoner's Rift and just on the beginner setting, just because I don't really feel that confident yet, and I don't want to step into kind of a more coordinated game. I know some people who play the game, but not enough, and I'm not really confident enough in my playing abilities that I feel like I wouldn't be anything but an encumbrance to the team. So for that, my favorite champion is Ari, the Nine-Tailed Fox, because Kitsune are just so friggin' cool, I also do pretty well with the one. She's a mermaid, and she's got the buffs, and she can heal herself and other party members. So I do okay with that champion. So yeah, League of Legends, kind of a fun game. And on the tabletop gaming front, just continuing on with that, kind of what's going on with that is I just got a new RPG. It's called Iron Claw. You may not have heard of it. It's sort of interesting because you play play a little furry type of character, and I'm planning kind of a fun campaign with that. But it's not based on the D20 system, and I'm not going to apologize for having really gotten used to the D20 system. Hang on for 1 second. Looks like I've got a couple more questions. Can I not see the live chat? Okay, hang on. Let me see if I can see the live chat. Let's see. Live, stop broadcast, links. No, sorry, I can't see the live chat. Chat. Group chat. Looks like no, I can't see it. Okay, am I going to watch Sonic Boom and Lion Guard? Well, not exactly. I'm not familiar with those. So hang on, let me just Google that real quick. Wish I had more browsers. You know, one thing I'd like to have one day is one of those giant computer rooms where I've got like a screen and like 100 different screens where I could just pull stuff up immediately and never have to close any browser windows. Okay, so anyway, let's. I'm gonna keep looking for the live chat. So just kind of bear with me. Let's see. What else have I been up to? I saw the movie Godzilla recently. The new one. Wow, that is one heck of a movie. Let me tell you. It's kind of boring through the first half. Well, no. The opening is kind of interesting because it's got sort of an entertaining mystery related to, giant monsters showing up and that sort of thing. And they just so there are these giant monsters, and then Godzilla shows up and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna beat the crap out of you all." Am I still watching? Am I still watching Shizao? I have not seen an episode of that in a while. I can't even find it where I am. I think they've kind of stopped airing it. That was an interesting show. I think I'm trying to think of exactly. I guess I'm not surprised it didn't catch fire, but it was an interesting show. I thought there were some really funny bits in there, and I did like it for what it was. But I guess the guys over at Dish Network didn't. All right, let's see what else we got. Live call settings, adjust bandwidth. Uh, I'm still getting used to Google Plus. It's probably pretty obvious, but I can't get used to it. It's like I guess what's going on is this chat is being run through Google Plus, and boy, yeah, I'm like not familiar with any of these settings. Yeah, but yeah, watching me flail around with the computer. Sorry, guys. All right, let's see. Control room. Oh, well, that's interesting. Uh, nope, that does not look like anything. Yeah, well, anyway. So, yeah, Godzilla. That was a cool movie. The last 40 minutes where Godzilla actually shows up was it was basically it was great. Godzilla, he does the laser breath, he busts down buildings, he beats the crap out of these two other monsters called Mutos. I kept thinking it was going to be Mewtwo, but no, that's some crossover that's probably not going to happen. Not that it wouldn't be cool, but yeah, he just wails on these things. And there's this one scene right at the end. Should I spoil it? Okay, Godzilla spoiler incoming. So he kills both of the other Mewtwo's. Slip of the tongue there. So he kills their two Mutos. So he kills them, both of them, and then he flops down right in the middle of San Francisco. And they're trying to fake you out. They're trying to think, oh no, Godzilla died fighting these things. Like, no, these guys, these two monsters just exist to get stomped on by Godzilla. Well, we're waiting for one of his real enemies to show up, and He's just doing that to say, yeah, this is how little I care about you. I'm just going to lay down. I'm going to take a nap because I know you're dead. And that's why he's the king of the monsters. Oh yeah, also at some point in hopefully the not too distant future, I'd like to do a versus where I compare the American Godzilla, both of the American Godzillas, both of the American Godzillas. The one from 1998. I hate that movie, by the way. That movie is it's terrible. It's not Godzilla. They actually retconned the name. It's now Zilla. The animated series for that was kind of cool. There were some neat looking monster designs and that sort of thing in that. But anyway, back to 1998 Godzilla. I am not at all fond of that movie. It's just there's nothing Godzilla-like about it. I agree with James Rolfe, who calls it uh, a bigger budget, a bigger Jurassic Park. And the new American Godzilla, sorry, the one from Legendary Pictures is fantastic. It's not necessarily the perfect Godzilla movie, but it's still pretty good. Okay, so back to a recent question that I just back to a question that I just got recently. Since pop culture is cyclical, where are we now? What is our place? Well, I think the internet has really kind of changed pop culture, where it's sort of gone from something which moves in these really big trends to kind of because of the internet, you can have whatever you want whenever you want it, no matter how obscure it is. So I would say I forget what obscure little book I was reading this in, but it was referred to as closing Gutenberg's parenthesis because basically the argument that they were making was, I'm sorry, must sound very boring to you. The argument they were making is because technology and the ability to actually produce mass media was limited to basically budget, and only wealthy organizations and governments could afford to actually kind of provide people with information, or in this specific case, entertainment. They set the trends, and they could only go off what they thought people wanted, and to a certain extent, they kind of set the drum. But I would say, in terms of the pop culture cycle, we're sort of moving into a new age where it's like you can have whatever you want whenever you want it because internet, obviously, and the internet's a great thing for fan bases and for things like you know I don't think Friendship is Magic would really have happened as big as it happened if not for the internet because, fan groups can get together. We can all talk about, the stuff that we like. And, it's really a great thing. Like, frankly, if not for the internet, I think a lot of things that we, presently are enjoying wouldn't have happened. Like, I don't think we'd have the Avengers the way that we have them. I don't think we'd have Star Wars Episode 7 because I think originally years ago it was all just so dependent on what big studios and big development groups were coming out with, and I think now it's really great for small time, for smaller things and for stuff like that. But just in terms of broader trends, uh, I'm kind of this again might just be me, but I'm happy to see that we're sort of moving, at least, okay, I want to say we're moving away from the grim and gritty stuff from like 90s comic books, but that's not entirely true, especially with video games. Uh, but I would say to a certain extent, I think people are like, they're done with the excessively like dark, gritty, and brutal stuff that was really popular like during the 90s, like, Spawn. Not that I don't like Spawn, but I feel like we've sort of moved away from that to a certain extent. Hang on for 1 second. Got another question. Trust me on this one. I'm only going to get better at these as we go along. So thanks for bearing with me during this first one. Oh yeah. So my thoughts on Aoizoto. So I don't know if I'm completely sold on Daring Do being real. That struck me as being kind of weird, because that was one of the things I kind of liked about MLP, sort of having a fictional story inside a story already. It kind of added a level of depth to the MLP verse. I guess what would be a really cool direction to go with it would be to see if Daring Do was exaggerating in her stories about what was going on. Like, okay, is Aoizoto really as bad as she makes him out to be? It would be interesting to see if they probably won't do this, since I like Daring, obviously, and I want her to be a good guy, but it would be interesting if she was actually kind of a shameless Tomb Raider and he was the one who kind of wanted to keep tombs unrated, basically. I don't think they're going to do that, but that would be interesting. Just in terms of what I think he's actually going to do is, I'd like to see him come back as a villain, because I think we can do a lot more fun stuff with Dash and Daring, because I think that's going to be a cool dream team. In fact, here's what I'd really like to see. I want to see Daring Do, Rainbow Dash, and Scootaloo all team up, because it'll be like this whole sort of scaling down thing of mentorship, where it's like, okay, Rainbow Dash is Daring Do's fangirl, Scootaloo is Dash's fangirl, and it would just kind of be interesting to see how that works out. So that's kind of what I'd like to see from that. But back to Aoizoto. He's pretty cool. I liked the episode that he was in, where we got to see that he does have a Temple of Doom. He does build magical doomsday weapons, and he's got a group of guys who, like, he's got a group of cult ponies. So that was awesome. I guess I'd like to see them work in more stuff related to Indiana Jones into kind of Daring Do. I want to see Nazi ponies now. I want to see a pony version of Mala Ram. He's the guy who ripped people's hearts out in Temple of Doom. So I think it's a good decision. It opens up a lot of possibilities. What I think was originally speculation for at least a little while was that Daring Do would get her own spin-off, and it would be kind of the Daring Do show, and that would be kind of a spin-off to My Little Pony. That's probably not going to happen, because we have Equestria Girls, obviously, and you should only have so many spin-offs. But yeah, Aoizoto, good stuff. I'm not exactly sure how to say that. I'm not really familiar with South American mythology, so just bear with me if I'm mispronouncing that. All right, it's three. Well, where I am, I'm in California, by the way. It's about 3:34, so been going at this for about an hour. So I'm gonna start wrapping this up. I'd like to thank all of you for joining me for this first live broadcast. I'm thinking about making this a little bit more regular, maybe doing like this once a month. Maybe pick like a specific topic I want to talk about, and just kind of see how things are. All right, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'm the Stupid Private, signing out.